Hi everyone, you're very welcome back again to another session on thinking about how we are managing our wellness and managing our emotions and our lives at this difficult time. It's great to see you all. Today we are going to talk about wellness tools for these times whenever we're feeling possibly a little more anxious. We're going to talk about what they are, and we're going to do some exercises in relation to a suitable wellness tool that suits most people at this kind of time. And we're also going to talk about some of the wellness tools that we have and some of the things that we have used recently to help us manage difficult situations. So what are wellness tools? Well, for those of you who have done our courses before and who have done that, you'll understand what wellness tools are. They're the things that we use to keep ourselves well, and they're also the things that we turn to when we're feeling more stressed or anxious or under considerable pressure. And so it's really, really important to think about what are the wellness tools that you're actually using now. We talked last week about the hope boxes, and we talked about when we put these boxes together how important they were in terms of keeping us well and keeping us hopeful. So we're going to talk today a wee bit more about that, and actually in the next video we're going to concentrate on that in a wider framework. But I have with me candle from my hope box, and it's one of my wellness tools because when I light the candle it's very intentional and it helps to soothe me and it helps me to self-soothe, and it's just something that I like. It's very personal. So it's important then when you're thinking about wellness tools for yourself that you're starting to become more aware, and hopefully you are through these videos, become more aware and more intentional of what it is that you're doing and the things that you're doing to help yourself feel better on a daily basis. So Lisa's going to talk us through something now in relation to her wellness tool.
And wellness tools, we talk about that because it's wrapped, but it's just basically about self-care, self-soothing and grounding. This is my stone from my hope box, and this stone reminds me that I need to ground myself because I can go off in all sorts of places. Now, in our complementary approaches to good mental health and well-being course, we talk about breathing and different types of breathing. My experience is, and the experience of the participants, is that we all know that breathing helps. Remember last week we spoke about fight, flight or freeze, that breathing is one of the things that helps calm our systems down so we're able to think more clearly. But in fact, breathing isn't that easy. For those of you who've done yoga and meditation and things, perhaps you do find it easy. I know about breathing, but I still find it difficult. So just want to talk you through some of the suggestions and some of the things we do in the group just to get basic breathing right. So the first thing we always encourage people to do is actually put your feet on the ground. It's about grounding ourselves, feeling your back against the chair, feeling upright without actually feeling stiff, and just starting to notice where your body is in whatever position you're sitting at. I always encourage people just to bring your attention to your breath and just start to notice what it's like going in and out. The important thing with breathing is not to bring judgment to ourselves. So it's not about because it says you've got to breathe in for 4 and hold for 7, breathe out for 8 or whatever. I can't do any of that. A lot of people I know can't. Just start to notice your breathing, and even if you're just breathing in for 2, holding for 2, and breathing out for 2. And just start to get a rhythm going. In compassionate focused therapy, we talk a bit about soothing rhythm breathing. The important thing is when our heads start to strain, we're worrying about dinner and how we're going to pay that bill, and are we going to be redeployed somewhere else, and what are our teenagers up to. It's about noticing those thoughts going on, acknowledging them, and then bringing your attention back to your breath. That is all it's about. And it's really important with these things that we actually do them. And Anne, I'm going to hand over to you because Anne was sharing with me an experience where she did actually have to use this practically.
Yes, so just recently, while there was a lot of anxiety just starting around this whole COVID crisis, I was visiting my parents who are self-isolating and who have to remain in isolation now for 12 weeks. And this was at the very beginning, and what I was very aware of was that they were feeling anxious and uptight and very uncertain. And I was conscious that I couldn't make that any worse for them, so I needed to be very aware of how I was responding to them. And I was feeling very worried about them, worried about their health, worried about not being able to see them. I wanted to reach out and touch them, to reassure them, hold their hand, be very present, And I was very aware that I couldn't, that I had to remain, keep quite a distance. And in doing that then, the anxieties were rising in me, and I was thinking, so what am I going to do now? I can't start crying, I can't get emotional, but what can I do? Right, I can call on a wellness tool, and because I'm so familiar with my wellness tools and they do work for me, I knew that I could call on my breathing straight away. So I was very aware of my feet on the ground, very aware of my breathing. At the same time, my head was going off thinking about all sorts of other things, and I had to bring my attention back into the moment. And I did practice some soothing, rhythmic breathing. I was also very aware of how much I was judging myself for not being able to make it better for my parents. So what I had to do in those moments was be very clear about what I could do right now in the moment. And it worked for me. Of course I left and I was thinking all sorts of other things, but I knew what I could do to pull it back. That was really important in the moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to finish off with the poem, and thanks for that, because I think at the moment it's about making it real.
Yeah.
And it really is about these things do actually help, and all of us are feeling a little bit out of control, and it's starting to do those things. Although we keep having to go back to them, it's not a fix, it doesn't solve the whole problem, it actually does help us get through in the moment. So just to leave you with this poem. In the silence I sit and breathe in and out, taking the stones of this suffering into my arms, raising them up and placing them down, laying foundations on my soul. Breath by breath, brick by brick. Without walls, within me, I build a home. Look forward to checking in with you next time.